So recently I managed to read 50 books this year, and I want to talk about them a little bit because I've seen, well, quite a few other people do this exact same thing. And, well, 50 was my goal for the year. And now that I've hit it and I've still got 4-ish months left to go, I'm going to set a new goal of hitting 75. But I might as well talk about the ones I've actually read. And if they're worth your time, do not worry, this video is not going to be stupidly long, which some people seem to make. I just don't understand how they manage to talk so much about a single book, but maybe I need to learn how to do that because they seem to be doing really well and smashing it, to be honest. So let's start off with the first one. The first book I read this year was Nod. I read this in 2 days. This is basically a thriller where the whole world can't sleep, except for a minute amount, and you just follow how people become crazy and how, with the lack of sleep, they do wild things to try and make it all make sense. I rate this 3 stars. It is quite good, nice quick read, nice way to start off the year. Then we move on to my first Kindle book of the year. I read American Psycho because everyone kept saying how great it is, and I like a few fucked up things, so I thought this might be great because obviously it's known as American Psycho and some wild stuff happens. I was very disappointed in this. I rated 2.5 stars. Like, a few things happened that didn't pique my interest, but a lot of the time it was just random crap, which I know helps towards the American Psycho whole nature of the book. But for me, it just wasn't worth the read. Another book that just wasn't worth the read, Iron Flame. This is the second book in the Fourth Wing series, and if you like very beginner like fantasy and want to read some okay sex scenes, maybe pick this up. But if you know anything about fantasy and you want something decent, don't even bother. This just has the same argument between the two main characters again and again and again, to the point where it just isn't worth reading about because it's just so boring. While we're on the topic of disappointment, I love Skullduggery Pleasant. I've got all their books, I've read every single one of them, and this is the worst one. It's based on a podcast thing that Derek Landy has, and for me, it's not worth reading if you're wanting to read the whole Skullduggery series. Don't get me wrong, I still rated it 3 stars, but that's because I love the characters that much. Just, yeah, maybe give this one a miss. Riley Sager's became one of them authors recently that I just need to read all of their work because the thrillers just do something to me. They just hit a little part of my brain that just makes me go, yeah, this is good. I like this. Except for one book that I have read this year, but we'll get to that in a minute. Yeah, I rate this 4 stars. Give it up. No, give it up. Yeah, I rate this 4 stars. Pick it up. Strange Pictures. This one somewhat viral not too long ago because of the way it's set out by the fact that each chapter of this book is a new story based around certain pictures that you've got to sort of figure out a mystery or puzzle around. The way it's done is really, really good, and I really enjoyed my read through. I read it in one sitting because you just want to know everything you possibly can, and if you're not yet picked it up, then do so. And for some reason, this year's the year I finally finished series, which, do not get me wrong, I'm absolutely loving because I had too many on the go as it is. Supernova by Marissa Meyer. I read the first 2 in December of 2024, finally read this one, and don't get me wrong, it's not the ending I wanted or the way it all ended isn't the best, but I still rated 3.5, which for me is quite a high rating for a series finale, as I always feel like they always fall a little bit flat. But yeah, for Powers, for a younger audience, maybe. So I got sent this book and I bought it mainly because it's by Neil Shusterman, who I absolutely adore the Scythe series from. And it's a thriller based on people being happy, which, yeah, don't get me wrong, I'm a very miserable person, apparently. And being happy does scare me a little bit, but at the same time, like, having a thriller based on people being happy to the point where they just want to help everyone is a bit wild, and the execution was quite good, to be honest, as I really enjoyed what I was reading. But I don't think I'd ever pick something up like this again because it just didn't seem to work as a thriller should do, if that makes any sort of sense. I also read book 1 of Dungeon Crawler Carl. This is at their peak of when it started becoming really, really viral and everyone started reading it all of a sudden. And I regret not reading this series sooner. It has everything I like in a fantasy-based book about gaming. It hits so right. All the characters do something so good and add to the whole story narrative that you just want to read the whole series in one go. And I'm holding myself back a little bit because I know this series is not finished yet. I just know if I do that, I'm just going to be left wondering for so long. So I'm trying to do like a book every 2 months sort of thing to try and get through it, which makes no sense. I'm only on book 3 and it's 8 months into the year, and I read this in January. I should probably chop, chat, and chit, but either way, it's around this time that I went on holiday, so a lot of my books are currently on Kindle, hence why I've just got random pictures here. I read Murder at Mount Fuji. This was Watson's Book of the Month thriller, and I don't understand why, because it wasn't good, like, at all. Watsons for some reason has a 4.5 average rating on their website. I give it a 2 because it's just, as a thriller, it doesn't do what you expect thrillers to do. There's no part that makes you go, I wonder what this is all about, when it tells you what happens. And yeah, don't get me wrong, the chapters are pretty quick and it makes for an easy read, but I still don't recommend you pick this book up at all. Witchcraft for Wayward Girls. I picked this up because it's Grady Hendrix and I really enjoy Grady Hendrix's writing, but the first half of this book just felt like a slog to get through, to the point where you get to the end and yeah, you're really enjoying the characters, you're really enjoying what's happening, but you just keep remembering back how much of a struggle it was to get through the first half. It kind of makes it a bit difficult to recommend to people, but I still rate it 3.5. I do love Grady Hendrix's writing, just I think something was a little bit off about the first half of this book. Bat-Eater is an interesting concept of a book. It's about a people who clean up crime scenes and they kind of discover that all these crime scenes have the same thing happening in them. Surprisingly, it's about bats. Who would have thought? It does go into some minor narrative of racism and all that sort of stuff during the COVID era, because this is when this is based. But it is really good message that they're bringing along into this, and that helps with the somewhat thriller aspect that's going on as well. And you do find yourself just sitting there thinking back to COVID times, you're thinking, fuck, this actually happened to people and it's horrible. So I really enjoyed this read. I rated it 4 stars, so pick it up. And for some reason, this year is also the year I decided to read thick ass books, which I regret because I feel like I could have been so much further along in my reading journey. But at the same time, The Way of Kings, you have to read it at some point if you're a fantasy lover. And I sat down, I read it, and I fucking enjoyed it. Don't get me wrong, the first 600 pages of it, which is quite wild to say, is all world building. And you feel like there could be more stuff happening here, find out more about the characters, throw in a few more action scenes, which is kind of wild to say when it's a war-based book. But yeah, it's so good. I rated it 4.5. I think everyone should read the series at some point, and I'm still currently going through it. My aim is to get to book 4 before the end of the year. I need to be in the right mental space to be able to read this, because the next one's 1,400 pages, and I know that's going to take some time, but we'll see. We'll see. My first manga of the year was Delicious in Dungeon. I had high hopes for this. I'm a chef. I love cooking, and the idea of people cooking random animals and demons in dungeons hit something with me. However, I didn't realize how boring it would get after so long, because it's just the same thing every chapter. Oh, look at that, a new demon. Let's cook it. Oh, it's good. Next chapter. Oh, a new demon. Let's cook it. It's good. Da da da. And after the 3rd chapter, it becomes sort of really boring. And I did, at the time, really want to finish the series. Now I don't want to pick this up ever again, and I might sell this copy. But we'll see. In my hunt to try and finish more series, I am still on the series Unfortunate Events. This is book 3. Yeah, book 3, The Wide Widow. No, The Wide Window. Yeah, this is basically, if you've watched the movie, it's the exact same thing as the movie. This is the ending part of it. It's fine. That's all I can really say about it. I'm almost there. These are written for younger audiences, and there's nothing really in there that interests me that much. I just want to finish the series, and they are nice, quick reads. You can read it in one sitting in about an hour and a half, really, because the font is massive. But yeah, if you're a younger person watching this, then yeah, maybe pick this up. It might be for you. I then read Black Sun. I picked this up because a TikToker recommended it to me, because it's people with powers, but the powers are all really interesting. One of the person's powers is they can control ravens, which I really like. However, the first bit is just really confusing. I need to get introduced to everyone all at once. It feels like they've rushed the world building just a little bit. And I do want to read the rest of the series at some point, especially because it is on Kindle Unlimited as well. But I just feel like the beginning bit kind of made it a bit hard to follow the whole track of what was happening, and maybe I was not in the right mental space to be able to read it the way I should have done, but still, it is a good series. I rate it 4, and I think if you are looking for a new sort of fantasy series to get your teeth into that has people with weird powers, this is perfect for you. Back on to finishing series, Good Girl Bad Blood. This is book 2 in the Good Girl's Guide to Murder. It's great. I really enjoyed it. The writing's really great, the character developments are fantastic, and all the twists and turns that you get throughout the book are fantastic. Quite simply, there's a reason why this went so viral so many times, and so many people rave about it. I'm going to be one of them people. If you've not read this, read it. The Inmate by Freda McFadden. Until recently, this was the worst Freda McFadden book I had read. Thankfully, there's something worse out there, but yeah, it's really predictable. You can tell what's going to happen from the very beginning, and the characters just do nothing. The main character is so bloody boring. You just go, okay, you did this. Okay, wow, great. And don't get wrong, very quick read, but 300 pages seem to take absolutely forever with this book. Back to Skulduggery Pleasant. Yeah, back to where I absolutely love Derek Land is writing with this. The characters develop with age. From back when the main character is 12 years old when this all starts, and now she's almost 30. The way that the whole story has developed to work with the way the world is now, it is great. This is more horror based than the rest of the books, which I kind of do enjoy because it just shows how dark this world has actually become. Do I think it belongs in the 9 to 12 section of Waterstones? No, because people die and they have sex, which, if it's a game or a movie, 15 plus. But apparently it doesn't work with books, even though I've been saying this for years. Finish another series, As Good as Dead. This finished the series the way I wanted it to. It kind of worked really well, and how everything kind of clicked together at the end after everything with all 3 books. Yeah, I'm happy with how this ended. I rate it 4 stars. I still think if you've not read this series yet, you need to pick it up as soon as possible. After the highs of the last one, I'm very sorry to say, but this Let's Split Up by Bill Wood is awful. The only reason I finished this book is because my phone was dead on the train. I had 2.5 hours left. So that's the only reason. I couldn't listen to music to pass the time. I couldn't just stare out the window because I would have probably jumped off the train. But I get annoyed when TikTokers or whoever write books and people hype them up because, oh my god, this random person who I follow on this platform has wrote a book. It must be so good. No, it's not. Read the book. To pay attention to the characters and how they do not develop. Just think about how he's just ripped off Scooby-Doo and brought it into the modern day society and went, oh, look how original I am. No. I rated this 1.5. It used to be 2. I dropped it down because it's just not good. And the fact that someone's picked this up to try and make it into a series makes me wonder that they've just done it because the guy's a TikToker. That's it. Very rarely do I think that a book should not just be a standalone, it should be a duology. And Academy for Lies is one of them books that I think if they made it 700 pages and were able to develop the ending just a little bit more, or maybe split it into 2 330 pages books where the characters develop more and the whole story develops and you get to find out more about the powers a bit more, I think this would have been so much higher on my ratings. I rated it 3.5. I still think it's really good and a lot of this stuff works. It needs more into it. It needs to develop just a little bit more. If you're still here after the beginning of the video where I said Riley Sager is one of them authors that I now have to read everything by, this almost made me stop reading. Middle of the night, it starts off good and then just stops. The main character gives nothing to the story at all other than the fact that the events happen to him. And it gets to the point where you're just like, I don't give 2 flying fucks about what this character has to say. And the ending, when you're reading just a thriller and it somehow jumps into another genre, just shouldn't happen. Like, I'm reading this book because it's a thriller. I don't want to read about other genres at this particular time, and then he just throws it in there randomly at the end. No, come on, do better. I read Station 11 because it's on everyone's top 100 books that they should ever read, and I get it. Do not get me wrong, I get why people love this book so much. It is pandemic based. It has everything you kind of want from a pandemic based kind of book. I just feel like it needs more to be considered a top 100 of all books that people have ever read. I could probably name 100 books off my shelves that are probably better than Station 11. There is a lot on here, so maybe. But I just feel like the ending just didn't work for what it was. There should have been more to it. It was a very thin book. It's 250 pages or something like that. But I still felt like there should have been a lot more of it for me to rate it as highly as what other people did. Don't get me wrong, certain characters and everything were really great. Just feel like the ending was a bit meh. I read the prequel to A Good Girl's Guide to Murder because it was £1 on Kindle at one point, and I was waiting in an airport to go on holiday, and I finished it while waiting in the airport. It's fine. If you're a younger person trying to find out if you want to read The Good Girl's Guide to Murder, this is perfect for you because it kind of gives you some of the sort of hints and twists that the rest of the series is going to give you. It's £1. It's very thin. You can finish it in 30 minutes. It's kind of a great way to advertise the series. Book 2 of Dungeon Crawler Carl, just as great as the first one. Really enjoyed it. Can't wait to read the rest of the series and see what else this wild story is going to bring. The Kamigawa Food Detectives. This is basically Before the Coffee Gets Cold, but with food. It's essentially the exact same thing, except for the fact you don't go back in time properly. But yeah, people try and figure out food and takes them back to their memories and why they love this food so much. That is the whole premise of this story. Does get a bit old very quickly because it's just the same thing again and again and again. A bit like Before the Coffee Gets Cold. Can be sad in some places, but if you've read the first like chapter slash story, you've read them all. That's the only disappointment. Battle Royale is my first 5-star book of this whole year, and that was in May, June, one of them months. I can't really remember. It's been quite a while, and there's been a lot of books since. This is Hunger Games on crack. This ran so Hunger Games. No, this walks so Hunger Games can run. Basically, yeah. You can't get this on Kindle, which I find quite weird. So you have to buy it in a bookstore, but it's worth it. You sit there, you read, and it's so fast-paced and so wild, and everything just seems to happen, and you get all these different points of views about all these different characters, and it just works so well. I do want to read the second one. Apparently there's a sequel, don't know how, but we shall see. We are back trying to finish more series, and I say that while starting a series. This is a reread for me. I read it a year or two ago when it was massive. Can't remember why I didn't finish the series. Very fast-paced, weird thriller sort of vibes without it really being a thriller. But yeah, it's like a mystery on crack. Pick it up, it's quite good. Yeah, so I picked up book 2 of the Stormlight Archive series, mainly because I got a 5-star read. I wanted another one, and so close. So close to being a 5-star for me. Literally, it was like one or two little bits that stopped it from being a 5-star. I rated it 4.75. I think I was just trying to be a little bit of a dick, but yeah, this series, it just does something, man. Dark Academia is one of my favourite genres of books. I love it. I love the whole vibe. I love how it's like school-based, like magic with some like darkness thrown in there. And if I was going to read The Secret History as my first Dark Academia book, I wouldn't have read another one. Yeah, no. I don't understand the hype, like, at all. None of the characters are nice to each other to the point where it's just like, why are you all just being dicks for no fucking reason? The whole concept of this is that everyone is pretentious, and I hate pretentious people, so maybe this is why I don't rate this book as highly as what other people do. These people don't deserve to be pretentious because they've got a little bit of money, or they're trying to fake that they are because they want to fake they've got money. Yeah, don't pick this up. It's not worth your time. I, who have never known men, I was left with so many questions once this book ended, and I still have them questions now, but do I think it's a good book? Yeah. I feel like you sit there, you read, and you're just there wondering about all these different things that could happen, and about how you're trying to think about what the whole reason behind the story was and everything. And I feel like this is like Lord of the Flies, but with women, and it works really well. But at the same time, I hate being left with questions after a book is finished when they could easily have made a sequel, or extended it by 100 pages, and explained a little bit more at the beginning, or fleshed out just a little bit in some places. I still rated it 4 stars, and I think I was just trying to be picky with it. But yeah, it is good, and if you've not yet read it, I do think you should pick it up because it is one of them worthwhile reads. Book 2 of the Inheritance Games, yeah, it's just as good as the first one. Like, don't get me wrong, it's like a 3.5. Still decent, still fast-paced. The brothers do get quite annoying now at this point because it's the same thing every single time. They fight, they argue, they both want the same person, blah blah blah. Like, this feels like it happens every 50 pages, so it does get a little bit annoying, hence why it's only a 3.5. Another Grady Hendrix books, The Final Goal Support Group. I like this. It was basically about people who are the like lone survivor for when every horror movie ever happens, and they all kind of meet up and try and figure out what the hell they're meant to do with their life now that they've seen all this horrible stuff. And obviously it continues from there into another bad event. I think it just hit something in my mind as a horror lover, and it just made me want to read even more somehow. I want like a sequel, I know there can't be one, but at the same time, like, give me a sequel. Yeah, this is basically the same as the third one in the series. Book 4, nice, quick, easy read. Kind of really helps with being like a palate cleanser after reading like a horror, because this is just so easy and quick and nothing really bad happens, which is kind of wild to say when it's a series of unfortunate events, but at the same time, like, yeah, it's just for a younger audience. It's a nice palate cleanser. Maybe pick it up. I'm not going to try and pronounce the author's name on this one because I really struggle with pronunciation of English words. Never mind a language I don't read. Clara and the Sun. This went viral not so long ago. I kind of understand why, but at the same time, I kind of don't, which is kind of weird to say. Like, I really enjoyed the story concept, but I don't think it's worthy of going viral for. Like, there's something in it that just hit right, but at the same time, like, there's other books that are similar to this that could be more viral. I do want to read the Dark Academia book that he's wrote, because I really like his writing in this, and that might work really well with Dark Academia. So we shall see. I finished it. Don't get me wrong, there is 3 other books in this series, but they're all side stories, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah, I finished the Inheritance Games. Rated this 3 out. I think it's the worst one out of the lot because I think the brothers just, they annoy me. so much after just listening to the same fucking argument again and again and again about the same thing again and again and again. Like, come on, give them some character development, or take one of them out and let them fuck off for a little bit. But still, it's a nice quick series. I do think people should read this if they're looking for either something to add to their Goodreads like goal for the year, want something nice and quick and somewhat of a murder mystery sort of vibe. It works. At the same time, those brothers just piss me off too much. I really enjoy translated fiction, especially when it's like Korean, Japanese, Chinese into English. And the Rainfall Market is one of those, and I think it's beautiful. Plain and simple. Like, the whole story and premise behind it gives me very much Midnight Library vibes about how you get shown these different people's lives, about how you think your life could be better if it could be this certain way. And it hits something in me because I absolutely adored the Midnight Library. And I think because this hits the same vibe, but that's translated fiction I really like. I rated 4 stars. I think I could probably rate it 4.5 and still be happy with that score. Pick it up if you're looking for some really good translated fiction, or even if you just really like the Midnight Library. So yeah, Hampton Heights. I picked this up because the cover is amazing. That is the only reason. I didn't read anything about it. I just thought the cover looked sick, so I picked it up. And what was inside I wasn't expecting, and when I finished I was also just still strangely confused the whole time. But I rate it 3 stars because it does bring something to the table. It's a decent horror, especially trying to get into the genre. Like, we just want to be like, do I like this? Maybe I'll pick this up. It's nice, it's short, has loads of twists and turns, has a lot of scary scenes, and I think people will enjoy this. Sherlock Holmes meets fantasy. This is the best way to describe Strange Beasts. It has wild, like, mystery solving with Moriarty's daughter, I want to say it is again, brought into this world of random fantasy beasts, and it's really great. You sit there and all the love of Sherlock Holmes that you've used to have back from either the BBC show or the actual books, and you just kind of read it and it kind of just hits a little something in your brain, and it makes you go, I've missed this, sort of thing. And like, I want more. I want to know more about this. I want more from this world. I want more about the characters. I want a sequel. Will I get a sequel? Probably not. But either way, pick it up. Before this year, I've not read a Brandon Sanderson book, and now I've read 3, and I want more. I do think this is a 5-star book because it has everything. It's funny, it has great story writing, it has great character development, it has everything I look for in a fantasy book, and it just done so well that you can see Brandon Sanderson's writing skill in this, which I know a lot of people probably say, oh no, you need to read the Stormlight Archives or the Mistborn series first. But if you're looking to see if you like his writing, this is perfect. It has everything you want from it and more. And so far I am trying to read all the Freida McFadden's books, and so I recently read Ward D. Really good. I really enjoyed it, to be honest. Like, the twists and turns happen that you can kind of predict, but at the same time, even though you can predict them, you're kind of waiting for them to come, and that little suspenseful moment does really help a lot in the whole writing scheme. And I rated it 3, which is quite high for my Freida McFadden ratings. So yeah, pick it up. The Tenant I also read, I rated this 2.5. The main character just really pissed me off quite a lot of the time, and made the read a little bit like longer than it should have been, because I can easily read a Freida McFadden book in a day or a day and a half because they're quick, they're easy, the chapters are short, and you just want to know what the end is going to be like. It took me about 3 or 4 days for this one because the main character just really, really annoyed me quite a lot of the time, to the point where it was just like, just shut up. Like, can I skip to someone else's point of view? I know it's not an option right now, but please. And then we move on to this piece of shit. Yeah. This is the worst Freida McFadden book I've ever read. Don't get me wrong, it's her first book, and it's not anything like any of her other books. This is meant to be a comedy based in a hospital. And the only way I can describe this to people who have asked me, what did you think of this? This is funny for the people who have live, laugh, love signs. Like, nowhere in it is it funny to anyone with any sort of sense of humour that doesn't revolve around going to B&M and seeing them signs and going, ha, that's so me. Yeah, 1 star. Dog shit. And there's a sequel that I've got to read. Not looking forward to that. Book 49 and Book 50 is One Dark Window and Two Twisted Grounds that booked in the Shepherd's King series. Yes, I really enjoyed these. It's like tarot cards mixed with fantasy and mixed with just everything that you could want. Don't get me wrong, in Book 2 there was a bit too much romance that was not anywhere included in Book 1. And it's just like, why is this being brought up? Is this just to add some more pages to the book? Because yes, at the end it does all work out in the end. Great, hippy dippy, I don't really care. But I just wish the focus more on the fantasy elements, and instead of going, oh well, I need some filler for this, let's throw in a romance bit just for fun, for no reason. It's just, that annoyed me a little bit, but I still rated them 4 and 3.75, which is really good for a series, especially a duology that I wasn't all that expecting to love that much. So yeah, I'm very happy with this, even though it does sound like I'm not because of the romance, but shush. I have just realised did skip a book. The 7 Year Slip. It is a romance. Someone sent it to me. I felt like I had to read it. It was okay. There wasn't any spicy scenes in this at all, really, and that kind of helped me enjoy it a little bit more because they've got to focus more on the character development and the actual story that the whole book is based around. I rated it 3, which is quite high for a romance book for me. Would I read it again or a romance again? No, I wouldn't. But at the same time, it was fine. It was just fine. So yeah, they're the 50 books I've read this year. I want to try and aim for 75 now because it's not something I've done since COVID time because I don't normally have a lot of free time because of my job. But I also kind of want to play some more games and take a little bit of a break from reading a book a day sort of thing. Well, I don't read a book a day, but reading each day sort of thing. Just so I can enjoy some other media sort of things. But we shall see. Let me know what books you've read this year and which ones you recommend. Who knows? I might pick them up and give them a read for myself. I've currently just started the Rebel Sky series, and it's basically about a person who can control paper, which sounds really sick. So yeah, let me know.